Alright guys, here I am again, another little video. This is a chest and back hypertrophy day. I've got some 80s here and doing some semi-high incline presses with a twist at the top, bringing it more into a hammer grip. This kind of allows me to contract a bit more because the weights aren't in the way, they're not, the big part's not touching in the middle at the top. So it brings your elbows a hair more inward when you twist like this, so kind of like doing it on my lighter days. Everything's kind of lighter with the rep range. It's pretty much going to be in like the 8 to 15 range or so. Not going to crazy failure. What do you think about these, Arnold?
Oh yeah, this is a great exercise.
Yes, I agree. Those are good. So I'm moving on to flat bench here with 205, I believe. So nothing, again, nothing too crazy with the weight. Just something that I can do good, smooth, solid reps with. I actually don't really do typically a whole lot of flat bench just because if I go real heavy with it, I've hurt my shoulder in the past doing it, mainly incline bench, but so I don't do it as much. But on a hypertrophy day, I got no problem doing it. So, and I know you like these, Arnold, right?
Oh yeah, this is a great exercise.
And yeah, those are good. I usually do them on the Smith, but whatever. Changing things up a little bit. So here I'm doing some weighted dips. So I've got 2 plates. I did 2 plates on the first set, and now this is going to be a triple drop set with 2 plates, then 1, then nothing. So you will notice that when I'm doing these, I don't really go all the way to the top. I don't lock out my elbows because it's kind of rough on your elbows when you do that. And I also had some tendonitis in my elbow a while back, so I'm kind of trying to avoid any more problems with it if I can. Plus, this is pretty much for my chest, so I'm not really too worried about locking my triceps all the way up. So I'm more or less doing maybe a little more than half of the movement just because of that. So I'm going down to where it kind of stretches my shoulders and my chest, and go up enough to where I can feel a squeeze. And I also like it this way too because it kind of keeps tension. It's continuous tension on my triceps and my chest and everything. So I'm never really resting on my bones. You know, if you lock out, you're not really on your muscle anymore. You're kind of just resting on your skeleton. So this way is kind of, it keeps the weight tension on there the entire time, and I kind of stay in the zone, so it's in the range of motion where it's kind of difficult the entire time. So that was my second drop set. Definitely getting a bit tired after 2 of those, so this will be the 3rd with no weight. And so here goes number 3. And this dip rack is not very fantastic. As you can see, even with no weight, it's wobbling around. And when I go up to 3 plates, then it's just ridiculous, and I actually have to put weight on the backside so it won't fall over frontwards. But I make do with what I got, and I take a look at my my fat tricep there, and yeah, check my fat self out.
Well, that really is a great tricep there. It's a good exercise too.
Oh, thank you. I do what I can, but I'll move on to these incline flies here on the little cable rack. And these, I also do not have my elbows locked ever doing flies, and it's more comfortable to have them slightly bent. It's better that way. I like to kind of keep my elbows down a little closer to me. I don't like being out real far, and I actually feel it stretch my chest when it's rotating at the shoulder like that. This is actually, if you think about it, sort of like a Romanian deadlift for your biceps and your shoulders in a way, because you can think of your tris sort of as like a quad, and your bicep is like your hams. You can can think of your shoulders and your chest as basically your glutes. But it's good. You get a good bicep stretch out of those while you're working your chest. And these, you'll notice that I kind of pivot at my hips. I'm not really swinging, not using momentum when I do this, but I do it so I can stretch my lats a bit more at the bottom, and then I go back so I get a better contraction when I go back and can squeeze it into my lower abs. I just prefer doing it that way. It feels better if I go forward and back a bit. So now I've moved on to this. It's like a hammer strength type machine for the back. I prefer to do these one-handed because you can actually stretch your lats a bit better and get a better contraction at the bottom when you can kind of move a little more. I guess it's just weird, the mechanics of the machine make it kind of difficult for you to really contract at the bottom when you're using both hands. It's just, unless you're just using lightweight. But if I want to go heavier, even this range, I mean, I'm only doing like a dozen reps, and even here it's difficult to really get a full good contraction at the bottom with both hands. So I'll stick to single arm and do single arm on the row type machine as well. That's similar to this, but it has a lower handle. But I don't know what it is with these. It's just, I like that way better for me. But you can do whatever you want. I noticed during these that they were really making my rear delts burn for some reason, but I was kind of just going through it. And now I was doing a drop set. This is my third set, so I was just dropping a little bit of weight to keep my reps up a little more, because I was already kind of crashing after the second one. Again, because these rest times were all really short today. I was doing drop sets, so you can rest even less when you're doing drop sets. I mean, you can rest. I like resting short on my hyper days, but if you're dropping weight, you don't even need as much rest for that. So I rest a bit to catch my breath, reset everything, and then just go again. So, I mean, I just was cranking out reps. I mean, it might look like I was really, if I was really going to failure here, but it was really just burning. My delts were killing me on these. So there's a couple times where I kind of stop and just like breathe for a second, and then kind of recharge and go for another few reps. And these were hurting. So yeah, but I do like these, even though they're brutal when you go this fast. But you can kind of see how low I have the chair too, so the weight cannot bottom out. If I stretch all the way out, it will not bottom out. That is one of my pet peeves with any machine. If I go all the way down or whatever, all the way to full extension, and the machine touches, the weights touch, that drives me crazy. I hate when that happens, so I make sure my seat's low enough to where it'll, even if I'm sitting there, it's not bottoming out in the rubber stop. So crank them out, crank out the reps. I know I made a comment here about my rear delts burning. Whether it was this set or another one, but yeah, they were killing me. So this was the last exercise. I was doing some rope crunches. Well, if you can call it a crunch, it's more of a cable leg lift type thing, because I'm actually, if you look, I'm not really crunching. I'm just flexing at the hips, and it actually brings in your hip flexors when you do this. So you can see I'm pivoting at my knees, and I'm acting as if I'm pulling my knees up. And that's actually how I'm pulling, so my abs are pretty much staying straight, but they're being worked, and that's how I prefer to do it. So there you have it.
Yeah!